a hand of friendship to Oswego to develop an intermunicipal power agency. With the hydropower we got going down that river, we could come up with enough low-cost electricity for the entire Oswego River Valley. At least talk to these power companies that are operating these hydro dams and find out, hey, can you give us a little better deal than the grid? Because let's face it, the grid's not going to give us a deal. We've tried it. I know these guys have tried it. Now it's up to us to figure out an alternative. And we've got it sitting right there. I say, explore that municipal power corporation, have the mayor go out there, basically be the salesman for the city of Fulton, say, hey, we're here, come check us out. Keep those relationships with our representatives in Albany and Washington, D.C., and let's get it done.
Mr. Kenyon.
Dave, can I say something to that? I think the mayor will attest to this, too, that the alderman and the mayor, if Mr. Stacy, as the mayor, the city raised the power plants and their assessments. Next year, the state lowered them right back where they were. So what do you do? What do you do when the state lowers them right back down where they were? Am I right, Mayor?
Yeah, actually, they had payment lower tax agreements. Their value was at $21 million, and when their pilot agreements expired, I chose not to put them back in a pilot agreement, so they had to go on the rolls at the $21 million. And then 2 years later, the state came in and brought them down to 13. That happened this year. That's going to cost us $133,000 next year.
All right. Here's a question, and we've gone past an hour, so I don't think we're going to go too much longer, but here's a question that I hope is at least a little bit fun. During your time in government, and Mr. Stacy, you can apply this any way that it works for you, you have certainly made some mistakes. What was your biggest mistake? How would you handle it differently now? Mr. Stacy, why don't you go first? Since you're
wow.
That's right.
What can I say that I'm bad at? Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome. As my father said, you never heard a fish peddler yell rotten fish, so now's the time.
Wow. Geez, nobody's perfect. And I'm going to go at this as if should I be elected. I've got my ideas. I've got my plans. I'm a passionate person, as I'm sure you've been able to tell tonight. Am I going to make my mistakes? Absolutely. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go solo. I'm not going to go maverick on this. I'm going to address the council. I'm going to work with the council. I'm going to work with the citizens. I'd like to come up with a couple ad hoc committees involving some council and some citizens. By doing this, by working with everybody together, perhaps I can avoid some of these mistakes that Mr. Bullard is alluding I may commit at some point.
Mayor, what's a mistake that you have made that you'll own up to, and how would you handle it differently?
Well, I make them on a daily basis, but if you don't believe me, answer the phone down there. But I think probably what I most regret, and then you learn it over time, over some of the contracts I've negotiated, there's some things that I didn't pick up on that I've regretted that cost us. Happens in every city. You learn, and that's why now I hire labor attorneys when we negotiate with some of the public unions, because they're a lot smarter than I am. They see it all the time. They can tell right in their head what something's going to cost. That's probably one of the worst ones.
Mr. Kenyon?
Oh, Dave, I got to talk about the mayor again. I don't know how many times I've heard him say at the table, if you don't make mistakes, you're not doing your job. Right, Mayor?
The only people that don't make mistakes are people that don't do anything.
That's what you said. Oh, God, I think that woman over on Hannibal Street was my worst mistake. When she called, I just didn't even want to go over there. But
yeah, you sent her to me. That was my second mistake.
And you sent her back.
Is there an issue you wish you'd handled differently?
Well, that woman I shot. No.
I don't know whether that just cost you votes or gained you votes. I'm not sure.
Would have handled it differently. Well, I don't know. You know, you're an alderman, you go over, if you get a call, somebody's got water in their cellar and this and that, and you go over and you try to get the guys in to pump the water out, and pretty soon you got somebody coming in the council meeting saying, what the hell you doing? Spending overtime to help this lady out with her cellar. So, I don't know, Dave. No matter what you do, you get criticized either way. So, that's what this job's about.
Many municipalities all of them are dealing with the new New York State tax cap. It's been mentioned here tonight, which caps your tax levy at whatever you've got plus 2%. Some municipalities are already enacting the loophole in the law that allows the local government to enact a budget above 2%, provided that 60% of the governing body votes for it. Is this a prudent thing to do? Is this something that you endorse, and should it be done this year? Mayor?
Well, probably not during an election year. No, I think the thing to try to do is not have any tax increase. I actually went to Solvay. The New York Conference of Mayors had some people there, some lawyers that explained the tax cap to us. And it has some real, and that's what you have to do if you want to get around it, if you need more. What you have to do is you have to pass a local law which requires a public hearing at your budget time to do that. Now, they suggested that every city do it, not to raise taxes, don't raise them, but if you have a spending plan or a levy plan and it varies within 5%, then you get punished. That's why they tell you to do that. It's just another nightmare.
Okay. Mr. Kenyon.
Yes, Dave. The New York State local retirement system will more than double over the next 5 years. And what that's going to do is, with the 2% salary cap, the city isn't going to be able to stand a chance against it. And what's going to happen to most of these municipalities they're going to go bankrupt. I don't see anything. I don't know how you can come out of it.
But do you think the city should preemptively waive that cap and give you the flexibility to enact the budget that you feel is proper, or live within the 2%?
I think you live within the 2%, if not even zero, but I don't know. You're going to have to look at every department and try to figure out what to do.
Mr. Stacy.
I agree with Mr. Kenyon. 2%'s too much, really, right now. You know, I know that it's going to hurt. I know that we're going to have to make cuts. We're going to have to find other ways to raise revenue. But nobody can afford to pay anymore. Instead of looking at a way to try to get around the 2% tax cap, maybe we should start binding together with other municipalities, with county officials, and petition Albany and say enough's enough with the unfunded mandates, because let's face it, that's what comes rolling down the hill. And as it gets to this point, guess who gets hit? The person at the bottom. My chief always said to me, stuff rolls downhill, Sarge, and you're at the bottom. And you know what? It's the same way with these mandates. It's time to fight back and say, you know, enough's enough. But just one municipality alone ain't going to be able to do it. Everyone's got to band together. All
right. One more question. We haven't talked about retail and downtown Fulton at all yet. It is no secret that there isn't a whole lot of retail downtown, that it has changed into more of a services area. Is there any hope, do you believe, in trying to bring retail back into downtown? Or are we fated to become a community that does most of its shopping in Oswego and Great Northern Mall? Mayor Woodward.
Well, retail, the city used to really go after retail. One of the reasons, because one of the biggest revenue sources the city had was sales tax. when Walmart moved into Granby, we entered into an agreement with the county for sales tax. They actually collect it all now, and we're guaranteed what we were making when they left, which is $6,100,000, somewhere around there. Retail's tough. I'll tell you why. On a daily basis or weekly basis, somebody will say, how come we can't get a real nice shoe store? How come we can't? Well, it comes right back to what I feel when I said earlier I wanted to change the demographics. When you come through Fulton, you count $5 stores and things like that. They do marketing studies. They realize that the local economy won't support that type of store, up-end store. So our biggest shot for retail is the small shops, things like that, local.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean it won't change in the future if the economy gets better. But I'm just being honest. That's where it is.
Mr. Stacy?
Actually, I'd like to add on to what Mr. Woodward said. He's correct. We do need to focus on those small specialty retail type of establishments. Why? Because the small business is going to be the foundation to build your larger business on. You know, marketing people come in and they look, okay, what's the city got? You know, what are they pulling in for money? Okay, you know what? Gee, City of Fulton's got, 17 little specialty shops here. Maybe we should bring in our retail giant and pop it right here, and we can take some of that revenue as well. Got to nurture small to get bigger, obviously. Do I feel we should restrict it all to downtown? No. Now, I'm not advocating, spot zoning and popping, stores in the middle of neighborhoods or whatever, but we can expand the borders a little bit of downtown. And where we are now in the county tax agreement, why not get Valney and Granby on board, if we can get those stores close to our borders maybe, to get people to come into Fulton. Nurture these smaller business, nurture the smaller development, and you will build a larger development. If you try to go for the big stuff right off the top, like any other structure with a bad foundation, it's going to crumble, and then we're right back to square one or worse.
Mr. Kenyon?
Yeah. Like that guy said, Dave, the problem with downtown is the rent's too damn high. I mean, everybody that's gone down there has gone out of business, the pizza shop and this and that, and the whole thing is the rent down there is too high to make any money down there. I don't see, I know Darrell Hayden's out there, and I know when he was mayor, we went to Plasky and we tried to get Ponderosa to come to Golden Corral, and I know he was on the phone about every day trying to get business in here, and they, for some reason, they just don't want to come into Fulton. And I don't see it happening.
Well, all right. I think we've asked a range of questions tonight. We have a pile more we could ask. And unfortunately, there just isn't enough time to do it. But I do want to give everybody in the audience an opportunity now to release a little tension and say thanks to the gentlemen who come here tonight. First of all, Alderman Tom Kenyon. Ralph Stacy, Jr. And Ron Woodward. And I think it's our turn up here to applaud you, because this is a very large audience tonight and a wonderful evening. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope it made a difference for you. Thank you and good evening.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hey, guy, good luck.
Good luck. Good.